What is happiness, really? Happiness, one of the most sought after yet elusive concepts throughout human history. Everyone wants to be happy, but what does happiness truly mean? Is it a fleeting emotion, or can it be something more permanent and fulfilling? In this video, we're going to explore the age-old question, what is happiness? From the ancient philosophers to modern-day thinkers, we'll take a journey through time to understand how different minds have tried to define this powerful feeling. For some, happiness is the simple joy of everyday pleasures, while for others, it's a deeper sense of purpose or meaning in life. But is happiness truly within our control? Can we create our own happiness, or are we just at the mercy of life's circumstances? Before diving into various philosophical views, let's begin by asking ourselves, what makes you happy? Take a moment to think, how often do we really pause and reflect on this question? Defining happiness, a philosophical and psychological perspective. Happiness, at its core, is a multifaceted concept that has intrigued philosophers and psychologists for centuries. While many people equate happiness with momentary joy or pleasure, this understanding only scratches the surface of a far deeper and more complex experience. From a philosophical perspective, happiness is often seen as more than just an emotion. It is a state of being that aligns with living a good, virtuous life. Aristotle, one of the earliest philosophers to explore happiness, introduced the concept of eudaimonia. This term, often translated as flourishing or well-being, suggests that happiness is achieved through a life lived in accordance with virtue, reason, and purpose. Aristotle believed that true happiness is found when one's life is in harmony with one's highest potential, emphasizing the importance of moral character and rationality. Meanwhile, hedonistic philosophers, like Epicurus, argued that happiness is found in the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. However, this does not refer to indulgence in momentary pleasures but rather the cultivation of long-term contentment by satisfying basic needs and living modestly, free from fear and anxiety. Moving to a psychological perspective, happiness is often studied as both a subjective and objective experience. Modern psychologists like Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, propose that happiness, or well-being, consists of several components: positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. These elements combine to form a life that not only feels good but also has purpose and depth. Psychologists differentiate between two types of happiness: hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. Hedonic happiness relates to pleasure, satisfaction, and the absence of discomfort. It focuses on maximizing pleasurable experiences and minimizing pain. On the other hand, eudaimonic happiness emphasizes meaning, personal growth, and self-fulfillment. It's about achieving a sense of purpose and living in accordance with one's values, often resulting in long-term well-being rather than short-term gratification. One of the key insights from both philosophy and psychology is that happiness is not something that can be permanently achieved but rather is a process. Life is filled with highs and lows, and happiness must be cultivated through our actions, choices, and mindset. Both ancient and modern thinkers agree, true happiness is often less about external circumstances and more about the inner life, how we perceive, interpret, and respond to the world around us. In conclusion, happiness is not simply the pursuit of pleasure or the absence of pain. It is a dynamic state of well-being that involves living in alignment with our values, cultivating positive emotions, building meaningful relationships, and continuously striving for personal growth and fulfillment. Happiness, in this sense, is both an individual and collective endeavor, shaped by our inner world and how we engage with life itself. Classical philosophical views on happiness. Philosophers of the ancient world dedicated much of their work to understanding happiness, not just as a feeling, but as a way of living. Let's explore how some of history's most influential thinkers approached happiness. Aristotle's eudaimonia, the flourishing life. Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of ancient Greece, believed that happiness, or eudaimonia, is the ultimate goal of human life. But for Aristotle, happiness was not merely about feeling good or experiencing pleasure. He argued that true happiness comes from living a virtuous life, a life aligned with reason and moral excellence. In Aristotle's view, happiness is the result of living in accordance with one's purpose, or telos. For human beings, this means using our ability to reason and cultivate virtues such as courage, wisdom, and justice. Happiness, then, is the process of flourishing, living a life of meaning, purpose, and moral integrity. According to Aristotle, happiness is not a temporary emotion, but a sustained state of being, achieved through personal growth, ethical behavior, and fulfilling one's potential. It's about being the best version of oneself. Epicurus, happiness through simple pleasures. While Aristotle emphasized virtue, Epicurus took a different approach to happiness. For him, the key to happiness lay in the pursuit of simple pleasures and the avoidance of pain. However, Epicurus did not advocate for indulgence or excess. Instead, he believed in a life of moderation and wisdom. He taught that true happiness comes from satisfying basic needs, nurturing friendships, and freeing oneself from unnecessary desires. Epicurus also believed that much of human suffering comes from fear, especially the fear of death. By embracing the idea that death is simply the end of consciousness, he argued that we can live more peacefully and contentedly, without fear of the unknown. To Epicurus, happiness was about tranquility, living a calm and undisturbed life. The Stoics, finding happiness in acceptance. The Stoics, including philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, offered yet another view. For them, happiness, or ataraxia, peace of mind, could only be achieved by accepting the world as it is. According to Stoicism, we cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. The key to happiness, therefore, is to align ourselves with nature and cultivate inner strength and resilience. For the Stoics, happiness is found in self-control, rational thinking, and emotional detachment. By focusing on what is within our power, our thoughts and actions, and accepting everything else, we can live a life free from unnecessary suffering. Modern philosophical views on happiness. As we move from the ancient world to modernity, the concept of happiness evolved, reflecting new ideas about freedom, responsibility, and the individual's place in society. Jean-Paul Sartre, Happiness and Freedom. Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the most prominent existentialist philosophers, viewed happiness as closely tied to freedom. For Sartre, life is what we make of it. Each individual is free to create their own meaning and purpose in a world that is, by nature, meaningless. Sartre argued that while this absolute freedom is a source of anxiety, it is also the path to true happiness. He believed that people often run away from their freedom by conforming to societal expectations or allowing others to dictate their choices. According to Sartre, true happiness comes from embracing our freedom, accepting responsibility for our actions, and living authentically, without succumbing to external pressures. Friedrich Nietzsche, The Joy of Overcoming Struggle. Friedrich Nietzsche offered a radically different perspective on happiness. For him, happiness is not about comfort or peace, but about struggle and overcoming. Nietzsche believed that life's difficulties and challenges are not obstacles to happiness but the very source of it. He famously wrote, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." Nietzsche encouraged individuals to embrace hardship and to find joy in the process of personal growth and transformation. He argued that happiness comes from pursuing greatness, rising above mediocrity, and fulfilling one's potential through self-overcoming. Michael Sandel, Happiness and Justice in the Modern World. Happiness is not just a personal matter, it has a social dimension. Philosopher Michael Sandel argues that happiness cannot be fully understood without considering justice and the common good. He suggests that our individual happiness is deeply intertwined with the well-being of others and the society in which we live. Sandel points out that personal fulfillment and happiness are often connected to contributing to a just and fair society. This means that we must think not only about our own happiness but also about the happiness of others and the structures that allow everyone to flourish. The views of other famous philosophers on happiness. Immanuel Kant, Happiness and Moral Duty. Immanuel Kant, the prominent German philosopher, had a distinct view of happiness. He believed that happiness should not be the primary goal of human life. Instead, individuals should focus on fulfilling their moral duties and acting according to rational principles. For Kant, happiness is not an end in itself, but a byproduct of living a life governed by moral laws and reason. According to Kant, people should not seek fleeting pleasures but rather act according to ethical principles. In doing so, even if they do not achieve immediate happiness, they live a life of dignity and value, which can lead to true happiness as a natural consequence. John Stuart Mill, Happiness as the Greatest Good. John Stuart Mill, the English philosopher and leading advocate of utilitarianism, believed that the ultimate goal of life should be to achieve the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. He divided happiness into two types: higher pleasures, which include intellectual and spiritual activities like reading, art, and philosophy, and lower pleasures, which are physical and material enjoyments. Mill argued that higher pleasures are more valuable than physical ones, and a person who experiences intellectual fulfillment is happier than someone solely seeking momentary pleasures. In his view, a society that strives to maximize collective happiness moves towards social and moral justice. Arthur Schopenhauer, The Illusion of Happiness. Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, had a pessimistic view of happiness. He believed that life is full of suffering and that true happiness is an illusion. In his view, humans are constantly striving to fulfill their desires and needs, but even when these desires are met, the happiness is fleeting, and soon another dissatisfaction arises. For Schopenhauer, lasting happiness is unattainable, and the only way to reduce suffering is through renunciation of desires and acceptance of life as it is. In other words, he believed that people must let go of their endless cravings to find some level of mental peace and relief from suffering. Baruch Spinoza, Happiness through Understanding. Baruch Spinoza, the Jewish-Dutch philosopher, believed that happiness arises from a deep understanding of nature and ourselves. He argued that humans achieve true happiness when they comprehend the world in a rational way, in accordance with the laws of nature. Spinoza saw inner freedom and rational understanding as the key to real happiness. In his view, happiness is found when people stop trying to control things that are beyond their power and instead align their lives with nature. This form of happiness is linked to self-knowledge and unity with nature, and it helps people avoid the suffering that comes from ignorance and misunderstanding. Psychological perspectives on happiness. As our understanding of human behavior and emotions evolved, psychologists began to study happiness in a more scientific way. Today, psychology offers valuable insights into what makes people happy and how happiness can be cultivated in daily life. The hedonic versus eudaimonic happiness debate. In modern psychology, happiness is often divided into two categories: hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. Hedonic happiness refers to pleasure and the absence of pain. It's about enjoying life's simple pleasures, good food, entertainment, relaxation, and minimizing discomfort. This type of happiness focuses on the pursuit of pleasurable experiences and the avoidance of negative emotions. Eudaimonic happiness, on the other hand, comes from a sense of purpose and meaning in life. It's not just about feeling good in the moment, but living in a way that aligns with your values, contributing to the greater good, and achieving personal growth. Psychologists argue that while hedonic happiness can bring temporary joy, eudaimonic happiness leads to long-term fulfillment and well-being. Positive psychology and the science of well-being. One of the most influential movements in modern psychology is positive psychology, founded by Martin Seligman. This field focuses on what makes life worth living and how people can cultivate well-being. Instead of merely treating mental illness or alleviating suffering, positive psychology aims to help individuals thrive and lead fulfilling lives. Seligman developed a model known as PERMA, which identifies 5 key elements that contribute to happiness and well-being. Positive emotions, experiencing joy, gratitude, and satisfaction is important for overall happiness, but these emotions alone are not enough for long-term well-being. Engagement, being fully absorbed in activities, or achieving a flow state, where time seems to disappear because you're so immersed in what you're doing, contributes significantly to happiness. Relationships, strong, supportive relationships are one of the most reliable predictors of happiness. Whether it's friendships, family, or romantic relationships, feeling connected to others boosts well-being. Meaning, having a sense of purpose or meaning in life is crucial for eudaimonic happiness. This can come from work, personal projects, or contributing to something larger than yourself. Accomplishment, achieving goals, whether big or small, helps create a sense of progress and fulfillment, which in turn contributes to happiness. The role of mindset in happiness. Another important factor in happiness, according to psychologists, is mindset. Research by Carol Dweck on growth versus fixed mindsets show that how people perceive their abilities and challenges can have a significant impact on their happiness. A fixed mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence are static. People with this mindset may avoid challenges, fearing failure, which can limit personal growth and lead to dissatisfaction. A growth mindset, on the other hand, is the belief that abilities can be developed through effort and learning. This mindset encourages resilience in the face of challenges and fosters a sense of fulfillment as people see themselves improving and evolving over time. The importance of gratitude and mindfulness. Modern psychology also emphasizes the importance of gratitude and mindfulness in achieving happiness. Practicing gratitude, regularly reflecting on and appreciating the good things in life, has been shown to increase overall happiness and reduce negative emotions. Similarly, mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment, helps individuals cope with stress, anxiety, and negative thoughts. By focusing on the here and now, people can break free from the constant distractions and worries that often undermine their happiness. Practical strategies for cultivating happiness. Now that we've explored happiness from both philosophical and psychological perspectives, the question arises, how can we apply these ideas to our daily lives? While happiness may seem like a complex concept, there are practical steps you can take to cultivate both short-term joy and long-term fulfillment. 1. Cultivate meaningful relationships. One of the most consistent findings from both philosophy and psychology is that relationships are central to happiness. Aristotle spoke of friendship as one of the highest virtues, and modern psychology echoes this, showing that strong, supportive relationships are essential for well-being. What you can do: invest time in your relationships. Make an effort to spend quality time with family and friends, practice active listening, and show appreciation for those who support you. Building and maintaining meaningful connections not only boosts your happiness but also the happiness of those around you. 2. Practice gratitude. As mentioned earlier, gratitude is a powerful tool for enhancing happiness. Ancient Stoic philosophers emphasized the importance of focusing on what we have rather than what we lack. Similarly, modern research shows that gratitude helps shift our mindset from negativity to positivity. What you can do: start a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Small moments of joy or simple comforts are just as valuable. Over time, this practice will train your brain to focus more on the positive aspects of your life. 3. Find purpose and meaning. Both ancient philosophers like Aristotle and modern thinkers like Viktor Frankl emphasized the importance of purpose in achieving long-term happiness. Eudaimonic happiness, living a life of purpose and meaning, brings a deeper sense of fulfillment than simply chasing pleasures. What you can do: reflect on your personal values and goals. What activities make you feel most engaged and fulfilled? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Align your daily actions with your long-term goals, whether that's through your career, hobbies, or community involvement. 4. Embrace challenges and personal growth. Nietzsche famously said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." While it might be tempting to avoid challenges, personal growth often comes through overcoming adversity. Embracing a growth mindset, as Carol Dweck suggests, leads to a more resilient and fulfilling life. What you can do: step out of your comfort zone. Set goals that challenge you to grow, both personally and professionally. Whether it's learning a new skill, facing a fear, or tackling a difficult project, remember that growth often comes from pushing through discomfort. 5. Mindfulness and being present. The ancient Stoics and modern psychologists both highlight the importance of being present in the moment. Mindfulness, the practice of focusing your attention on the present without judgment, can help reduce stress and increase overall happiness. What you can do: incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine. Whether it's through meditation, deep breathing, or simply taking a few moments each day to pause and observe your surroundings, being mindful helps you enjoy life's moments more fully and reduces feelings of anxiety. 6. Balance pleasure with purpose. Epicurus taught us that while pleasure is important for happiness, moderation is key. Similarly, modern psychologists suggest balancing hedonic pleasures, short-term joys, with eudaimonic pursuits, long-term meaning. What you can do: treat yourself to the small pleasures in life, whether it's enjoying your favorite meal or taking time to relax, but don't let these pleasures define your life. Make sure you're also dedicating time to activities that bring deeper satisfaction, like pursuing personal goals or helping others. Point 7. Accept what you can't control. The Stoics had a valuable lesson for us: focus on what you can control, and let go of what you cannot. This mindset not only reduces stress but also helps us find peace in situations beyond our control. What you can do: when facing challenges, ask yourself, is this something I can change? If the answer is yes, take action. If not, practice letting go and accepting the situation as it is. This shift in perspective can bring a sense of calm and increase your resilience. Happiness is a journey, not a destination. Finally, remember that happiness is not a static state or something to be achieved once and for all. It is a continuous journey, a process that requires both reflection and action. By cultivating meaningful relationships, practicing gratitude, finding purpose, and embracing both the pleasures and challenges of life, we can work toward a life of deeper fulfillment. So, what will you do today to take a step toward greater happiness? Happiness is within reach. As we've explored, happiness is not just about experiencing fleeting moments of joy, but about finding purpose, nurturing meaningful relationships, and embracing life's challenges. Each of us has the ability to shape our happiness through our thoughts, actions, and mindset. So, as you go about your day, ask yourself, what small steps can I take today to move closer to a life of happiness and fulfillment? Remember, happiness is a journey, not a destination. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little more happiness in their life. Join us at FactUp as we continue exploring the ideas that can inspire change and make life a little brighter.